We've got Eagles versus the Rams. The Rams heading into Philly. Oh, good luck. Good luck.
Again, my whole point and with this game is, of course, nobody likes the Eagles unless you're an Eagles fan. So of course last week it was like the Packers are
Yeah,
going to
fuck
beat
the
the
Eagles.
Eagles. Here's why, blah blah blah. This one, it's the Rams are going to beat the Eagles because the Rams are so good, and it's all this kind of stuff. We forget, much like the last game we talked, or the Texans Chiefs game, the Eagles played the Rams at the end of November, so about a month ago. When you look at the stat sheet, everything that you're saying, or not you saying, but like the general public is saying that the Rams need to do to beat the Eagles, the Rams did last game. There's nothing the Rams didn't do last game that if they had that exact same game, you would be like, oh, the Rams are blowing them out. So the last game ended 37-20. Let me read you the stats from that game. Stafford, and again, this was not in Philadelphia, this was in LA. So now you're expecting the Rams to go on the road and have a better game against a team that they played a great game against and still lost by 17 points. That's where I don't know where the disconnect is. In this game, Stafford, 24 for 36, 66% completion percentage, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 110 quarterback rating. Kyron Williams averaged 4.5 yards a carry, 72 yards on the game, a touchdown. Puka Nacua had 9 receptions, 117 yards. Cooper Kupp had 8 receptions, 60 yards. Nacua was averaging 13 yards a catch. Cooper Kupp was averaging 7.5. So you look at all those stats and you're like, Matthew Stafford had 2 touchdowns, over 100 quarterback rating. Kyron Williams averaged almost 5 yards a carry. Both the wide receivers were the leading target getters. One had a touchdown, the other one had over 100 yards. Like, they played a perfect Rams game. They scored 20 points, which again, with outside of that Vikings game last week, that's been what the Rams have been all season. A team that puts up 21 points, and if their defense can hold another team under that, they win. So we look at the Vikings and we go, maybe they were exposed by the Lions, but you look at the Rams and you go, yeah, they played a bad or a Vikings plan that the blueprint was out to stop them. The Eagles played one of their worst games of the season last week, and they still won by 2 touchdowns. This same Rams team played one of their best games of the season and still lost by 17 points. I don't even know what the counter argument is to be like, well, this one's going to be different because now it's a harder place to play against a team that you already had a perfect game against. Like, I don't know what the argument is.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of an argument. I think Philly just kind of wins this one in a landslide. And again, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to be perfect. He doesn't even have to throw the ball that much. Just between his legs, Saquon Barkley, go for it. I know A.J. Brown and Goddard are questionable right now for this game. We'll see. Even if they are back, they might not be 100%. But with that being said, you don't have to rely on Jalen Hurts' arm, because that running game between the two of them, and then you still have Smith, it's over.
Well, yeah, and then obviously
and then the Rams have to deal with that defense.
Yeah, and the big thing from that game against the Rams was Saquon Barkley rushed 26 attempts for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. So in that game against the Rams and against their defense, where we talked about, oh, the Rams D-line and verse, and they're getting better and all that kind of stuff. They gave up almost 10 yards a carry to Saquon Barkley and 2 touchdowns. And then Jalen Hurts in that game had a higher QBR than Matthew Stafford and was 15 for 22, 68% completion percentage, 180 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. So Both of these teams played exactly the type of games they've been playing all season, which is you have Hurts throw less than 25 times. You give the ball to Saquon more than 20 times. You get AJ Brown the ball, they got him at 6 times and a touchdown over 100 yards. And then Stafford and the Rams, we just went over, they played their perfect game. So again, last time against these teams, or last time with both of these teams, neither of them really turned the ball over. I think the Rams had 1 or 2 fumbles, but none of these teams turned the ball over. None of them played bad. Or no, I'm sorry, the Rams only had 1 fumble. I believe it was that Kyron Williams fumble. So if you're telling me, and if you're legitimately trying to, step away from the Eagles hate, because I get it, the Eagles are an unlikable team. I get it. I don't care. No one likes this. We don't care is the motto for the Eagles for a reason. But if you look back and look at it objectively, and again, just take the colors and the logos off these two teams played a month ago. Both of them played exactly the type of games they both like to play. And it was, for all intensive purposes, a blowout, with the Eagles consistently putting up 10, 14, 10 in every quarter against this Rams team. So if you're saying that against a vulnerable, where the blueprint was already out, Vikings team, the Rams destroyed them, and then a Packers team that, again, everyone was picking to upset the Eagles for a modicum of reasons, then you cannot justify to me what the Rams can do in this game to beat the Eagles. Because again, if it's in a shootout, the Rams are probably going to win that game, but the Eagles don't play shootouts because they have the number 1 defense in the league. So if it's a shootout, something has gone remarkably wrong with the other side of the ball, which is not going to happen. If for the Rams, they're going to try to play the same game they played against the Vikings, well, then that's just going to be another 300-yard Saquon day. Because if you're loading up the box and sending everybody, then our O-line, our being the Eagles, O-line is going to push your D-line around and just make gaping holes for Saquon Barkley to, again, rush for 300 yards. So I think you can make the case, if next week really is the NFC Championship game in Detroit, Lions-Eagles, then you can say, oh, it's Lions in a shootout, they're going to pick the defense apart. That I will listen to. But being like, oh, it's the Rams, they're going to pick this defense apart, no, they already had a good game against this defense, and they put up less than 3 touchdowns. Again, it's Eagles all day, and I would love to hear in the comments or whatever what the reasoning is for why the Rams will win. And if your only reasoning is, oh, they look good against the Vikings next week, I give you the 2 months before that where the Rams looked like absolute garbage and were 3rd in their division. I don't know. Any other thoughts on this casino?
Nope. So I'm picking Eagles. You picking Rams?
Yeah. No, I'm picking Eagles. I just don't think this year they beat them by 17. Last year, to the game I went to, they beat them by 11. So it's
the only thing I honestly think that the Rams have better than the Eagles is the coach.
Yeah. But that being said, so far, I believe Sirianni's 3-0 against Sean McVay every time they've played. So,
well, I mean, that's
they might
fair.
just have their number.
They just might have their number, but I mean, I would take, if you gave me here's McVay, here's Sirianni, who would you have? I would take McVay all day, every day.
Well, I don't think that's any question. And honestly, I think
I know. I mean, I'm just saying that's the only thing that I think the Rams have over the Eagles is, and that's fine. You're saying that Sirianni's got his number, but okay.
Well, I also
enough,
think I just think he has the better roster. I think if you put McVay on this Eagles team, we're talking about this Eagles team as if they're one of the best teams ever.
Yeah. If they had the same, if this was Madden and they had the same teams, who's going to win?
Yeah. McVay. But again, I think much like how we just talked about Commanders Lions, I just think the talent and better position by position goes to the Lions in almost every category. And you can say basically the same thing about the Eagles, right? Outside of what, coach and quarterback. And even then, I think the margins are a lot
Gotcha.
closer
You said that this
than
might be a
people would
weather
admit.
game too.
Yeah. Also, that is a thing I want to bring up as well. I mentioned it on the what is it, TikToks, but I might as well mention it here as well. When you look at this game, Casino, there's a 25 to, this one says 70% chance. That's not true. It's more 25 to 50%. But when you
Yeah,
look
I
at
have it
this,
here.
what's it percentage saying
Oh
on
no,
Sunday?
it's just agreeing with what you're saying. Yeah, it says mostly cloudy with snow and rain at times in the afternoon, up to 1 inch.
Yeah, which Casino's
And
familiar with, but also
I'll measure
when
for you guys. Don't worry.
when you look at Matthew Stafford's career, for people listening, when he plays in outdoor games that are either rainy or snowy, he has a 1-8 record, 54.6% completion percentage, 14 touchdowns, 11
Yeah.
interceptions, with a 76% passer rating.
The only thing that they have going for them on that, the weather, is it's saying that it might, like, it's going to start most likely right as this game's going to end.
Oh, okay.
But that's the weather, and you never know how that's going to go. But that's what they're projecting, is it's going to start around, right around that time. So
Well,
we'll see.
also the thing that with Stafford that everyone fails to mention is Stafford, for his entire career, has either played indoors in Detroit in a dome, or he's played in LA with the Rams, that is nice weather all year round. So based on these stats and his career with both the Lions and the Rams, he's never really been a good outdoor quarterback because he's never really had to play outdoors. Even when he was playing in Georgia, it's not like Georgia gets these crazy snowstorms and stuff like that. So, but also the other thing I wanted to show you on this one, Casino, was with the record when attempting 35 plus throws. This is insane. Jalen Hurts, when he throws more, the team is actually better, which I think goes counter to a lot of what people think of Jalen Hurts. When he throws 35 times or more, they're 11-2. When Stafford does it, they're 5-10. And then the records, when the defense gives up 30 plus points, Stafford is 1-7, Hurts is 5-4. So, and that's just since 2022, when both of them, obviously Hurts with the Eagles, and then since Stafford has been with the Rams. I just thought that was an interesting thing to throw in there, because again, that destroys the narrative of, oh, well, the Eagles don't want Hurts passing a lot because they're a worse team when he does. Well, by pretty much every metric, when he throws the ball a lot, they actually win more than when they do their style of play. But I just think it's a more conservative approach to play the way they do. So enough Eagles love. Again, I would love to have somebody make the case for the Rams about why they think they're going to beat the Eagles outside of I hate the Eagles, because that's not a reason.